Secretary Fortunato de la Peña, DOST Undersecretaries and Assistant Secretaries, Directors of DOST attached agencies and regional offices, officials and members of our partners in government, the Commission on Higher Education, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the Department of Information, Communications and Technology, the Department of National Defense, the Department of Energy, the Department of Health, the Department of Public Works and Highways, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the Department of Transportation. Our supporter, USAID Stride, researchers, scientists, and engineers, ladies and gentlemen, magandang agham sa inyong lahat. Good morning, maayong buntag. Welcome to the 5th National Research and Development Conference, or NRDC, with the theme R&D, Making Change Happen. There are two reasons why we are holding this conference. First is Section 19 of Republic Act 10055, or the Technology Transfer Law, mandating DOST to call for a yearly national conference of all government funding agencies and research and development institutes. Second, based on the provision of the Government Appropriations Act for DOST to facilitate the dissemination of all the outputs of the programs and projects under the Harmonized National R&D Agenda. The Philippines has long experienced regional disparity in access to major resources that could potentially fuel innovation and socioeconomic growth within the country. In 2016, most of the R&D activities in the country are concentrated in NCR, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon. Moreover, out of 2,000 higher education institutes, only 85 have publicly funded R&D. Our government's expenditure on R&D is an average of 0.632% each year. While we have more MS and PhD graduates in engineering and science, they are not absorbed by industries to undertake R&D. Most of all, this pandemic has disrupted our lives in so many ways, as well as putting on the spot government agencies to share expertise and resources. With these challenges and the limited resources that we have, how will R&D make change happen? First, to address disparity in access to R&D funding, the NICER, or Niche Centers in the Regions for R&D, was established under the Science for Change program. Currently, we have 24 NICERs in 16 regions with a total funding of 984 million. But more important is that 70% of the funding for NICERs are in regions outside of NCR, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon. We also continue the R&D Leadership Program to engage experts who will be able to strengthen the capabilities in the regions and bring out the latent talent of our researchers. With the Balik Scientist Program, especially in this pandemic, many of our Filipino experts either returned to the country or virtually shared their expertise. Secondly, to maximize returns on available R&D budget, we have added metrics in the evaluation of our proposals. Those projects with high social and economic impact will most likely get funded from the government. An example is the carrageenan plant growth promoter, which makes rice strong and resistant to major pests and diseases, thus giving farmers 30% increase in their yield. We have also developed sustainable mass transport technologies and have established facilities for improving productivity and competitiveness of our local industries. You will hear more from the presentations of our speakers for the entire 3 days of the NRDC. Third, in order to encourage companies to do R&D, we have created several programs to bridge the gaps of the R&D. One is the Collaborative Research and Development to leverage the Philippine economy or CREDO, which enable innovation of local Filipino companies. Another one is the business innovation through science and technology for industry, which facilitates the acquisition of relevant technologies by Filipino companies for immediate incorporation in their R&D activities. DOST has established 44 technology business incubators in universities all over the country. These TBIs are able to nurture more than 200 startups and produce more than 70 full-blown startup companies, resulting in over 800 jobs. Since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in the Philippines, the DOST has responded to the call to work in containing the virus and mitigating its socioeconomic impact. Among our technologies for COVID-19, we have the COVID-19 detection kit by Gen Amplify offers real-time detection and costs less than 2,000, a lot cheaper than imported ones. Faster facilitates understanding the spread of diseases, while VCO project tests whether coconut oil components can prevent the infectivity of SARS-CoV-2. We also need to prepare for the next pandemic. For this, the Department of Science and Technology proposed the establishment of the Virology, Science and Technology Institute of the Philippines, or VIP, and the reactivation of the Pharmaceutical Development Section, or for Tuklas Luna Center for Pharmaceutical Development, that can initiate and strengthen local vaccine development and therapeutics development. You will hear more about these COVID-19 initiatives in the next presentations. With these efforts in the last 3 years, there have been increases in the pool of researchers, the scale of research in almost all the regions, and industry-academia research collaborations. The program has almost doubled the number of engaged HEIs and increased funding in the regions. Last year, we formulated the DOST Monitoring and Evaluation Protocol, or M&E Protocol, for all DOST granting aid programs and projects. In this year's call for proposals from April to June, we received 888 proposals. This clearly shows that the 400 to 500 MS and PhD graduates from DOST scholarship programs are able to join and contribute in the submission of R&D proposals. The total budget for all these 888 proposals is 11.5 billion pesos, with 7.5 billion pesos required in 2021. However, based on our 2021 budget, we will only be able to fund 122 out of these 888 projects in just 63 programs, with a total budget of 804 million pesos. In 2016, only 85 institutions were funded by DOST, but in this year's call, there were 181 institutions that submitted proposals. This is a 110% increase in the number of institutions that are capable of doing research and development in the country. I am pleased to inform you that in the Global Innovation Index 2020, the Philippines achieved its best rank ever, landing in the 50th among 131 countries. This is significant because in 2014, just 6 years ago, we were number 100. Our level of innovation output is even higher than some high-income countries like Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Oman. Given the range of government agencies that have a hand in integrating policies and programs to propel innovation initiatives in the country, we should follow a whole-of-nation approach. The whole-of-nation approach optimizes the impact of government funding towards inclusive innovation and ensures the multiplier effect of its impact on resources. Thus, even with low funding for R&D, innovation in the country has flourished. The Philippines produced more innovation outputs relative to its level of innovation investment. Can you imagine how much more innovation outputs we can produce if given more R&D budget? We are very excited for you to witness this virtual conference the innovation of our fellow men that made these accomplishments possible. Indeed, R&D is making change happen. I welcome everyone to the 5th National Research and Development Conference. Thank you and mabuhay tayong lahat!